I talk to people of my age and other young people in St. Vincent, the more I want to understand why our youths are turning to growing up in the hills. I tried with the school thing, and I did relatively well. And even in my, well, some would consider good position, I finding it hard to live in St. Vincent as a young person, because how the way the society is designed and how it's operated, there's no outlet for young people. There's no outlet, and basically, this is the only way out.
I'm coming high, 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 high.
Over the years, cannabis has been deeply rooted into Vincentian culture. Not to mention, the island provides the best climate and the richest volcanic soil, ideal conditions for its cultivation. I grew up in a time of legendary ganja planters.
We always have the mind that the distance is more secure than around the villages. The majority of marijuana produced in the volcano zone, in the red zone you could say. Whether is it Chateaubriand or Georgetown, North Windward, North Leeward.
Our region constitutes part of the geographical wall that produces more than 50% of the world's cannabis. To some people, this is a stigma. This is a blot in our region's history. To some others, it doesn't matter. But to families like mine, I was born to a rural family whose grandchildren and great-grandchildren, whose descendants are cannabis growers. So to families like mine, to the poor cannabis grower in St. Vincent and the Grenadines, and in Jamaica, and to their counterparts in other parts of the hemisphere, it represents livelihood. Livelihood because it is the means by which they feed, they clothe, and provide shelter for their children. It is the means by which they send them to school. In the same way that cannabis once constituted part of the culture of the ancient Chinese and of the pharaohs of North Africa thousands of years ago, cannabis has become an integral part of the culture of the people of our region. We use it in the preparation of our meals. We use it to treat our sick. We use it as a means of recreation. And in the case of our Rastafarian brothers and sisters, it is used as a religious sacrament.
Why are you going to lock up a fella for a half an ounce of marijuana? He smokes it behind his grandmother's house. He doesn't pass in front of the police station with a spliff in his mouth and shouting to the police, "Hey there, Babylon, look at I man." He's not in contumacious disregard of the law. Why are you going to lock him up?
These plants that Euro-American system would term drug, from other people's culture, they are medicinal, they are sacred, they are spiritual plants. So here in Jamaica, and as Rastafari, we have been demonstrating and have been fighting for the legalization and the decriminalization of marijuana, a plant that I as Rastafari look upon as being a part of our sacrament.
Rastafari have also advocated the use of herb not only as sacrament, but as food and also as medicine, and for championing and advocating the cannabis usage, which has been seen amongst mankind for thousands of years. Rastafari communities faced great atrocities.
The CARICOM Commission on Marijuana was very firm in its recommendation about a regional roadmap which should focus especially on the traditional farmer. Many persons who were marginalized in the so-called war on drugs. They were warehoused disproportionately in jails, and they now want to be part of the emerging cannabis industry, and rightly so.
It creates another danger, another sacrifice on this illegal market. where farmers were prosecuted, taken to prison. Farmers went out with their stock to sea and they lost them because of bad weather, piracy and the sea and all that. So in a way we want to give them protection by giving them a legal market.
If we legalize the marijuana, everybody could benefit. Vincentians not going dead, Burgeoning not going dead, St. Lucia not going dead.
Like, we've come a long way, knowing that we have traditional farmers and like being brutalized by the police.
The law was a racist law and a discriminatory law. It specifically targeted black and brown people.
Cannabis is a natural plant and should be considered and treated as such. Cannabis being placed under the current schedule that it is denying humanity one of the most basic and fundamental human rights.
And you work, and then after you have to come again to come home. So,
and then you have to balance home life as well, evolving around us, like getting us ready in the morning for school.
Oh, that was very hectic.
In the illicit market, it was more a sign of poverty, than of wealth.
It's one thing was to pass the law, but another thing had to develop certain infrastructure.
Most of the lands which we can get easy access to, are contaminated with chemicals.
Land security for farmers, since ganja farming before was mainly on squatted land, soft loans and other financial incentives as well. We learn from our history with sugar and bananas, unequal trading relationships which continue today in the neo-colonial context. We welcome foreign investment, but it must not be at the expense of genuine development and our Caribbean peoples.
Once we get the right price and once we get justice, that it will be much easier for all of us, both men and women.
The traditional cultivators who have built the regional brand have been left out from participating within the regulatory framework. But if the Caribbean is to build any capacity in exporting cannabis globally, the quantity and quality is going to come from the traditional cultivators.
You don't want the farmer to be left all at sea, where business is concerned.
And I still have a way to go in order to reclaim our birthright.
What he has done, he has tested this first one, and we got back the results. But this one, we said it's 19.5% in THC. Now
So
we
I'm
were
going to
told
say
that
that we've had a
other.
test that said 25% THC today so far.
So there you have it. We have,
That's a huge number. Before I came here, I tested cannabis that I cultivated myself, and it came in at 23.4. So that's pretty high. Like right now, 30 is pretty much max, 30 to 33%. There's some 35% THCs out there, but those are really bred in specialized growing conditions, and for it to be grown in a position where it's almost wild, but it's cultivated and it's manicured and taken care of by spirit, for instance.
Manual, the samples from Fanny and the other samples to come.
Okay.
More high grade too.
More high grade.
Yes, so we can have potentially better results.
We're going to make sure that we make sure this industry and the process is one that safeguards people in St. Vincent and Grenadines.
Cannabis from Jamaica, and there's nothing at 25%.
We are not going to allow anybody to come into this country and take anybody for a ride. I mean, persons have been invested in St. Vincent and the Grenadines in many different aspects, many different production areas. And we have a long history of working with investors, and we're going to continue that. And let us remove from our minds that when you say someone is an investor, it means that they're coming from overseas.
Cannabis growers do not engage in the cultivation of cannabis because they are drug traffickers, but it is out of economic necessity. talk to the cannabis crowd, you will hear the same story. A story of poverty and a story of unemployment. Like banana. Wait, our government just passed a law and then it automatically, people in the civil servant don't know and they just go on. It's not like that. It's something where we have to go and experience, learn all over again from scratch. So in 2018 when it was passed, even people in the government, Minister Sees and all will tell you that. We think it will be up and running. It is so.
COVID, everything went real slow. You know, thing went very bad. In COVID, you know. Then now you see the volcano comes. All the weed them have done with destroy now.
For the last years now since the amnesty introduced, you have a lot of ups and downs too, you know. And it is much better than in the early days of planting marijuana and the scary thing that you know when you're planting marijuana and the police on your back.
The country which recently passed the medical cannabis industry laws pinned much of its hope on the participation of small cultivators whose primary source of livelihood has been the cultivation of cannabis.
I have some dogs, and when I see the dogs them run and come on a bed and squinch up on them and start to bawl and tremble, I say, boy, this is it. But the professor said this thing getting nasty.
Such piece of weed we plant in February. I lost over $1 million.
It's real horrible. It's real horrendous, let me put it that way. It's like a war zone. It's like being on Mars, I would say. Everything for me has been wiped out, except the buildings. And at the moment, they are going as well. Because the amount of ash that dropped in Shatibile are throughout St. Vincent.
We are in a state of crisis. First came the COVID. It didn't directly affect our farms because we were involved in production still, but it affected our sales, the shipment of our cannabis overseas. But the volcano, it has been a different kind of destruction. It has destroyed our farms, it has destroyed our produce, both agriculture and cannabis. It has been the most devastating experience that traditional cultivators have experienced.
There's nothing was there. Everything. I don't know where we're gonna make it down there. Plus my house. I have a house, my house. You know, I have to try to go back down there tomorrow again or sometime to go and clean up my house roof. Because I don't give up on the week, because we see everything loose.
You can't think it no other how. You have to have money. Whether the ganja farmer, or the vegetable farmer, or the livestock farmer, or the tree crop farmer, it takes money.
And I'm going to need help with manure, seeds, you know.
Well, ganja man go help set up themselves and things, especially right now, because right now that can make a setback. Because man don't really know how long this thing go on for.
Grass are broken. Grass have lost almost everything. So grass are looking now at the future to get some sort of recovery assistance.
There are more than 30 states in the US that permit medical use of marijuana. Cannabis is only legal for recreational use in 11 states. Outside of Canada and Uruguay, no other country has legalized recreational pot. Much of the excitement and enthusiasm surrounding pot stocks have been the potential growth of the potential opportunities that exist once legalization happens around the world. However, it's been moving at a snail's pace. Even though legalization has progressed in the US, there's still no signs that federal legalization of pot is imminent. And as for the farmers of St. Vincent, go steady, push on, keep the fire burning.